this view. All right. So let's go back to the consumer's problem. We talked about a demand curve, right? We talked about here's the person's demand curve. Here's price and here's quantity. So this might be PI and this might be XI. Let's use my usual notation. And then there's some demand curve, right? XI of PI and then a bunch of other stuff. But I'm not, the other stuff I don't care about. I'm just going to leave the other stuff out of the picture. All right? All right. Now, how would you describe a demand curve? What is a demand curve? Be careful in your wording. What is it? Is it how much this person would be willing to buy at a given price? What is the demand curve? The demand curve is how much this person would choose to buy if he can buy any quantity he wants at that price, right? Everybody agrees with that, right? That's the experiment that generated the demand curve. We assumed there was a price. We assumed he could buy as much as he wanted at that price. And this is the amount that he would choose, right? It's his preferred choice at that price. But you see why that's the case? Because that's what we did. We asked, all right, you can buy as many of these goods as you want at each price. Which point would you choose? Which is the best from your point of view? So the demand curve describes his preferred point. I didn't talk about this, right? Did I? Okay, I haven't done this. Okay. I'm old. I forget what I've talked about. All right. So what does that mean? What does that mean? What it means is if I want to think about this person's preferences in this space, right? I can think about people having preferences over prices and quantities, right? That is, I can think about instead of letting them choose their quantity, I'm just going to offer them combinations. This quantity and this price, another quantity and another price. I can think about their preferences. What this model says is his preferences are such that the best point anywhere along that line is that point. Everybody agrees with that? That of any point along a horizontal line, that has to be the best one. Because that's the one he picked. He wouldn't have picked it if it wasn't the best one. So points to the left of that point are worse, and points to the right of that point are also worse. Right? So what does the indifference curve have to look like? His indifference curve, well, he clearly prefers moving this way, right? Everybody would agree with that, right? For a given quantity, he would prefer to pay less. There's no question down is always better. But is going right always better? No, going right is better on this side and worse on that side. So his indifference curve actually is horizontal at that point, right? That's what his indifference curve kind of looks like. It's actually upward sloping on the left and downward sloping on the right and maximized at that point, right? So you can think about it. His budget line is sort of the horizontal line, and he chooses the point that's the best one along that line, right? That's how his indifference curves look like. So that's what his indifference curves look like. But you see that?